It's all yours, Mr.
Well, hello. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your interest in the Office of the Attorney General. My name is Maria Arana. I'm a community outreach liaison, and I'm here with my teammate Daryl Phillips, who is working our slides and handling the technology this evening. We are pleased to be able to represent Attorney General Kwame Raoul and to present the services of our offices to the South Holland Public Library and its viewers. We have included our emails in case you would like to contact either of us. The first thing that I'm going to go over will be the agenda. So let's go over the plan for today. That'll be the next slide. I will provide an overview of the Office of the Attorney Generals. Not everyone understands the role of the Attorney General. Many people are surprised by all that we do, and there are even some confusion about the things that our office does and does not have the power to do, according to the statute that created our office. Then we will go into describing common scams and how to avoid them. And in the event that you do fall prey, we will go over all the ways that the Illinois residents can reach out for help if you need it and what to expect when you contact the office. We will also have time for answers and questions at the end. I will confess that I am not an attorney, and if I were one, I wouldn't be allowed to give any specific legal advice. But what we can do is to share experiences and information and point to you to experts who are ready to serve. Now we're going to go through an overview of the Office of the Illinois Attorney General's office. Okay, so this is a photograph of the Attorney General Kwame Raoul. He was sworn in on January 14th, 2019. He was an Illinois state senator for 14 years. In the Senate, he passed laws on criminal justice, financial oversight, and healthcare services. He brings that experience to his role as Attorney General. This is a constitutional office, one of only 6. The Attorney General is the chief legal officer, or what you would call the lawyer for the state, and the Attorney General protects the public interest of all Illinois residents. The way I see it, you have to think about it in 4 major areas of responsibility. First, to advocate on the behalf of Illinois consumers and residents. 2, to litigate, which means to take necessary legal actions. The third, to represent the state in litigation. And the last, to work with elected officials as they legislate to create new laws and rules. We will cover the state with, I'm sorry about that. I wanted to inform you guys that we do have 2 main offices. One of the offices is in Springfield and the other one is in Chicago. We also have 6 regional offices, and whichever one is closer to you is the one that you would be able to go to be able to get some assistance from a staff member. We also get help through one of several hotlines that we have for the public, based on the type of resources you need or the problem you may be having. The addresses and phone numbers are on the handouts that you can download from our website, or we can also email them to you. A link to our outreach page is on the website and in this chat as well. Our website is also a source for information for all of our services. Plus, you can submit an online complaint form for many situations. We also have all our brochures and publications available to download. Lastly, there are 9 more people like myself on the team of community outreach liaisons who can do presentations, staff resource fairs, and meet with the public. You can think of the Office of the Attorney General as a large legal office. We have more than 750 attorneys, investigators, advocates, and other personnel. The office is organized into what we call divisions that focus on different types of law and service areas. Some of the public is most likely to encounter are listed here, and we'll go into it a bit with more detail. In general terms, the office focuses heavily on consumer protection. We also have attorneys dedicated to protecting civil rights, and there are also rights of military service members and veterans, individuals with disabilities, plus special communities such as children, women, and older citizens. We have services for those who have been the victims of crimes that can help them respond to and rebuild from a traumatic impact. Our office requires all charities and some nonprofits to register and comply with the financial reporting rules. We promote open and honest government through upholding rules and allow the public to participate in what we call open meetings and to access information that is part of the public record. We help ensure that consumers know their rights regarding student lending, mortgages, and other financial dealings. This includes public utilities like your electricity and gas providers. Most criminal matters in Illinois are handled by state's attorney's offices in the county. This is why some people confuse us with them. However, we are with more specific crimes that are within our statute can make changes and go to trial. We're going to look next to see what brings people to us. In the next slide, we'll be talking about protecting Illinois consumers. Which is slide number 10. The Consumer Protection Division covers the majority of work we do directly with the public. We keep a record of all the complaints and individuals make each year and compile a list of the top 10. In 2021, the office received a total of 14,146 written complaints in addition to tens of thousands of phone calls. After a surge of complaints related to COVID-19 in 2020, last year, a more typical year where home repair fraud came back to the top of the list. Complaints related to consumer debt came in second. This includes complaints related to mortgage, banks, and financial institutions and collection agencies. Complaints that use car sale brokers were in the top 3 in 2021. COVID scams are still in the mix, and others are listed here. It is important to note that our Consumer Protection Division often brings funds into Illinois. The Attorney General Consumer Fraud Bureau saved consumers more than $20 million through litigation and mediation in the year 2021, and additionally obtained approximately $25 million in penalties and enforcement judgments. This list is important because it lets our attorneys not only respond to issues, but also spot trends. We encourage that everyone contact our office if you believe you've been scammed or treated unfairly in a consumer transaction. Now we're going to be talking about common scams and how to avoid them. The brochure that you see on your screen right now is an overview of common types of scams that anyone can get caught in. There are home repair scams where experts don't finish the job or deal fairly. There are telephone and online marketing scams that present one set of circumstances that don't prove to be true. We will look more closely into imposter scams, where the person is not who they say they are, but try to fool you into giving money. Even when you do want to do good, it is possible to get burned by a charity organization that does harm instead of helping. Even when you want to do good, it is possible to get burned when you're trying to do all these things in place. We will also touch on the healthcare scams that prey on other personal conditions, often when individuals are in no condition to pay close attention. Home repair scams. Our homes are often our most valuable assets. They can make one an easy target for home repair scams. It can often start with a knock on the door or an offer for discounted repairs, especially after a natural disaster like a flood or a storm. The Illinois Attorney General's office tracks home repair scams and has seen it rise to the top of the claims filed in our office. Be wary of door-to-door or telephone marketing. Look for established contractors with recommendations from people you trust. We have a brochure that by the law required to provide for any job more than $1,000. There's a sheet that we have on our website that you would have to give to the contractor if they do not provide one for you. It's good to have so you know exactly what you're getting into when you're getting a contract done. And it's another way to guard yourself from knowing and going over what should or shouldn't be done with your home or the job that's being done. It also covers the rights to cancel a contract that was intended and signed by the solicitation at your home. If they come to your home, you have 3 days to cancel. 15 days to cancel if you're 65 or older. If you have questions or believe that you may have been defrauded by a contract, we have a team of advocates and attorneys who can help you get matters sorted out in a mediation if a mediation is required. We also investigate these claims to determine if our office can prosecute or sue. Imposter scams. Maybe what happened to me is something that you can relate to. And even if you can't, there is likely another imposter scam that has happened to you or someone you know. Let's talk more about the most prevalent imposter scams. You could get a call from someone or some automated recording saying that they are from IRS or Social Security office and you owe money. These scam artists will spoof the phone number so that it looks like they're calling from Washington, D.C. Or you may be contacted by a phony debt collector or credit card company that makes a threat or arrest if you don't pay. The scam can play on your emotions. After the death of someone close to you, scammers may call and say the deceased owed money that you are responsible for paying. You could get the grandparents scam, where they say your grandchild needs money immediately. We are even seeing a rise in sweetheart scams, where someone starts up an online romance and then takes financial advantage of someone who thinks they are in a truthful relationship. We can stop the scam with these tips. The first rule is to just hang up. You can let unknown calls go to your voicemail. Never agree to buy gift cards or wire money. Check the story out by calling the person or company at the phone number you know is real. Lastly, report these fraud attempts to your local law enforcement and our office, the Attorney General's. Telephone and online scams. Telephone and online scams can use many of these same imposter scam techniques. In many cases, the goal is to identify theft along with financial loss. You may have encountered calls or emails offering computer tech support. They are actually trying to get remote access to your computer to search for information that will allow access to your financial records. Similarly, you might receive an email that appears to be from a bank or credit card company with a link to update account info. This is another way to fool you into getting up from your login information. Remember, anything that sounds too good to be true probably is. It's not free if you have to pay for a price, trial, or shipping. You can try to stop the calls by registering your phone number with the Do Not Call registry. This won't stop every nuisance call. However, it will severely reduce the number. Again, just hang up or ignore or report. Charity scams. Not every organization that claims to do good is worth of a donation. Some organizations will use deceptive techniques and high-pressure tactics to convince you to provide your financial information or cash to make a donation. In early March, the Attorney General announced a settlement against an operation that bombarded individuals across the country with 1.3 billion deceptive funding calls, collecting more than 100 million that did not go to charitable programs that donors believed they were supporting. All charitable organizations that solicit or hold donations in Illinois are required to register with the Attorney General Kwame Raoul's office. Members of the public can check the online charitable database at charitableViewerIllinois.gov to search if a charity or private foundation is registered and compliant with reporting requirements. The database provides financial information such as assets, income, and annual financial reports. Do your research. Give to organizations that you confide in, and you don't hesitate to say no thank you if the solicitation does not feel right. The next one is healthcare scams. Our health is important and fragile. As such, we fall prey to healthcare scams that promise cure-all remedies or promote a scientific breakthrough. Scammers may offer free medical products or devices, or they will tell the consumer that upfront payment required for the product that they don't substantially provide. Or similarity, they send a product with the promise that they will work with the patient's insurance for payment, but that product is not covered and the patient is on the hook for the payment. The most important thing to remember about the Healthcare Bureau is that there are advocates who are trained in medical records and billing terminology available to help mediate when you believe you're a victim of healthcare fraud. The assistance begins with a simple phone call. The number's on the screen. That number is 877-305-5145. Now we're going to move into what you can expect when you contact the Attorney General's office. Steps for filing and resolving a complaint. This chart describes the typical process when you first contact our office. Next, we will review the situation, and then if possible, we work towards a resolution. We can take a closer look at what happens at each step. Number 1, the Office of the Attorney General provides several means for the public to file complaints during normal times. The office at the Thompson Center in downtown Chicago and the Springfield office are set up with staff who can take complaints and answer questions. We also have regional offices throughout the state. We have several telephone hotlines to report specific types of fraud or other inquiries. Still, the most convenient method is to fill out a complaint form online at the website www.illinoisattorneygeneral.gov. If you require translation to complete the form, you can contact someone in the office and they would be able to assist you. We have services in Spanish, Polish, and if you have another language, we will find someone to help assist with that as well. Review. The claims or complaints will be reviewed to see if you're able to help you and can refer you to another agency. If it can be moved forward in our office, then it gets assigned a number to open the case and it's given to an advocate. This part of the process usually happens relatively quickly. There are advocates that handle home repairs or auto-related complaints, for example. After collecting the necessary information and documentation, a complaint can be assigned to a mediator. That's the person that will be handling your case. The mediator will look into the details and contact the business of organization. He or she will attempt to bring about a fair resolution. Not every case can be resolved. The process can involve several weeks, months of communicating with the business and reporting back to the consumer. Even when a case cannot be resolved, it is important to make complaints so that our attorneys can spot patterns of fraud and uncover potential cases for more legal action. Every complaint that gets reported can potentially help someone avoid getting scammed. For workplace rights and civil rights complaints, our attorneys are also collecting and tracking following up on those reports. They then work with individuals and coordinate with other agencies and law enforcement if required. You may experience some delay in response times as we have to adjust with working remotely. certain days and with reduced operations. We value all the reports that we receive and are making efforts so that we can respond to them in a timely manner. These are the helplines for some of our most frequently used services. I should point out that we have dedicated lines for seniors to use. We also have a resource directory that lists these and many others. If we can do this presentation for a community group that you may be involved with, or if you're interested in a presentation on another topic, you can send us an email at outreach@ilag.gov. Well, these were the few things that our office can assist with, and I'm ready for any questions that you may be having for the office.
All right, so Ms. Crawley, Mr. and Mrs. Buto, if you have any questions for Ms. Arana, you feel free to unmute yourselves and ask away.
I don't have any questions. I was just going to tell of my experience in contacting the Attorney General's office. At one time, I was getting a slew of, I thought and still think, scam phone calls. So I kept track of the numbers, and I did type up a letter, a note, and I sent it to the Attorney General's office. And I'll tell you, they did respond and indicate that they would be using it to do just what she said, and that's to track any patterns and so forth. So even phone numbers, if you think that you're getting ones that you think are a scam, that if you get enough information or think you've tracked enough and see a pattern, and let them know, they do take care, or at least they did take care of it in my case. So I just wanted to share that experience.
Oh, that's great. I'm so happy that you were able to get in contact with someone and get some feedback.
Yeah, that's great, Ms. Crawley. That's it's rare we hear the good aspect when our agencies actually work how they're supposed to, right? I mean, we've all been a little bit jaded about it, but it's great that to know that they do work for the betterment and looking out for us.
And Ms. Crawley, I have a question. Have you registered for the Do Not Call registry?
I have.
Okay.
And I'm still getting calls, but I've just started noticing, surprisingly, in the last week or two, my phone is actually, I don't answer numbers that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so right while I'm still talking to you, I'm looking at my phone, and for example, here's something that they show that I'd not seen before. Appears to be a scam number, something that they say. And so it's not a number I recognize, so I'm never going to pick it up or anything like that. Oh, suspected spam.
Yes.
Some phones, my phone is now putting with.
Yes, my phone does the exact same thing with my phone company. It'll tell me it's like, is it suspected spam if you want to pick it up? If not, sometimes I'm not sure, so I'll let it go to voicemail, and if it's important, they'll leave me a message, and if it's not important, well, then they just won't. So
yeah, my service provider also, I get notifications after my phone doesn't even ring. It just says a call was blocked, suspected scam, and they show the number, but it doesn't ring for me. Anything, just shows the message that they was blocked.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not sure, but sometimes you'll also get a phone number that looks just like your regular number.
Like a regular, it looks like a regular number. Yeah, it's a 708 area code.
Yes.
Or it even, I've had I've had people call me and it's my phone number. Which is weird, and I'm like, I'm not calling myself. Who's calling me? Right away I know it's a scam.
Yeah,
because how is it that someone's calling me? So what they do is there's these machines that people generate numbers, and those numbers are the ones that they use to call people. So
right,
it's usually not the same one. It's always a different one.
yeah.
Yes.
I honestly never, ever answer a number I don't recognize because I might, and one of the other things that I will do, I will take the number and go to a search online
Yes.
to look to see if somebody has indicated that this is a scam number or they keep getting calls from this number or something like that. I used to do it more frequently than I do it now, but because I've established for myself the guideline that I simply don't answer numbers I don't know, then that has worked for me as a senior because I know we're really targeted.
Yeah, and that's a very, very good thing to do, Miss Crawley. I mean, what I've seen a lot lately too are just not just phone calls, but texts. The text coming in and with links. So, you're saying like your shipment is ready, or this, or you won this, or whatever, and it has a link. And I've always told, I do the technology classes here at the library, and one of the things I always point out to the patrons who come into them, never, ever, ever, ever click on the link that you're not familiar with, that you don't know where it's coming from, where it originated, if you're not expecting it. Never, ever click on a link in either in a text or in an email. It's always some type of phishing scam, and that's how they get you. So if you're not expecting it, and sometimes it can come through a familiar email address, like a regular contact of yours. But if you're not expecting something from that person, contact them a different one and ask them, did you send this? What is it? Before you click on it, before you open it.
Yeah.
One of my colleagues has actually mentioned to me that in an email, they weren't too sure if it was a good source or not, where the email was coming from. So they put their cursor over, I'm not sure if they thought it was from Netflix or from some type of company, but when you put your cursor over the sender, and if it's not associated with that company, you'll see the email where it's coming from. And if it doesn't say like Netflix or anything with it, you know right away that has to be some type of a scam as well.
They disguise the address with a name that you might recognize, but when you hover the cursor over it, it shows the true address. And it's nothing like what you expect.
No,
nothing
it's not.
recognizable. So yeah,
Wow.
we get a lot of that. I mean, it's just part for the course with phones and emails. So just what you do, Miss Crawley, is exactly what you should do. Never open anything that you're not expecting or you're not unsure of where it's coming from.
And another rule, a guideline for myself I've established, I will only use the telephone number that's on the back of my card or on my statements.
Yes.
I won't use any other phone numbers to call a business.
Yep.
Even if I believe the email is legitimate from the business, I will use their numbers on the card or the statement, and I will ask, did you all send such and such an email around such and such a date? I'm sorry, but I think so much has rolled on to the consumer, and we have to take some care. I mean, you can't be, I don't think you have to be, what's the term they use? It's a psychological term. I don't think you have to be
Paranoid.
overprotected. That's not the word, but
Paranoid.
huh?
Paranoid.
Paranoid. Yeah. I don't think you have to be paranoid. I just think you have to be alert and careful.
Yeah, very true. And that's what I tell them. A lot of my patrons who come into my classes are seniors, and they're very much afraid of the technology and what to do. And because their banks are telling them that they have to create an online account, they have to go paperless billing, you have to do all this, and they're afraid to do it. And I tell them there's no reason to really be afraid. It's just be alert, be careful. Every single transaction you do, you follow steps to make sure that you're doing it safely. And this is just the way the world is going. It's not going to go back. It's not going to. We just have to learn to deal with it in a careful, secure way.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I actually now consider having a antivirus and malware program an essential expense, an essential annual expense. I think it's the least that I can do to try to prevent as much as I can, because I think the people who do ill are getting more and more sophisticated.
Oh, they are.
So even if I don't get, if something slips through, at least I would have the psychological comfort that I perceived it as an essential annual expense and was willing to use it, in line with my own budget. But I just think they're getting so sophisticated that I don't know how I personally would navigate it, using my computer as I do without having the antivirus and malware
Mhm.
programs on them.
Yeah, that's
And when I
that's
get my
just
new
par for the
phone, I
course.
intend to do a VPN.
Yeah, yeah. That's just a natural thing now that we all have to deal with, and just being careful without going to extremes of paranoia. That's all we can do.
Yes,
That's all we can do.
yes, yes.
A lot of stuff, a lot of it falls on us. I mean, there's working here at the library. I constantly have to go back and check the public computers, make sure that people log off correctly, because they leave their emails completely open. They download paycheck stubs, income tax returns, and they leave them open. They're like, you cannot blame
Yeah.
put the blame somewhere else, that on the technology, if you are not following the proper steps for your own safety. There's things in place, and if you're not sure, you ask one of us. That's what we're here for, to help. And but a lot of people just get up and walk away and leave their stuff open for the next person to come in and see. So
I guess they have that false security thinking because it's the library.
yeah, no,
But no,
Mhm.
you shouldn't.
Yes.
No.
no.
But it's like, no.
Yeah, I
Yes,
tell them,
yes.
you have to log out, you have to erase your things. I mean, we do have on most of the public computers, the ones that we provide a guest pass or library card to access, those have a freeze program that once they log out and restart, anything that was left behind that was saved on the desktop anywhere will automatically delete. No passwords are kept, or
Ah,
nothing is signed.
mhm.
Everything is signed out automatically. But the walk-ups, we have 2 walk-ups that don't require a sign-in. Those do not have that. Those anything you download stays on those. Anything you
Mhm.
sign into, if you don't sign out, stays on them. So you have to get out of sign out and erase your things. So throughout the day, I go by, and even if they're off, and there's no one waiting for them, I open them up and I go through them and I clear all the downloads out of it. I clear all the signups out of them, because it's getting a little bit better. Some days are better than others. Sometimes I go back and oh my gosh, all the stuff I find on them. But
Mhm.
it's just, I don't know, people have this sense of security that it's in something about the library. Like, no, we're just a public place. Anyone can come in here. Anyone can use our computers. So
Yeah.
you don't know who's coming behind you and opening those stuff up. So, and if
That's
I
true.
haven't made that round, they to check on it, they've seen it. So you have to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
careful. Yeah, that's not on
Very,
us, because that's not
very.
something where we get busy with other things, and we don't. I mean, that's something that I put myself to do every now and then. And I remember when I'm not doing some of my other duties, but otherwise, it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't clear out until someone else does it. Did you have a question, Ms.
Yeah.
Crawley?
Yeah. Yeah, I do have a question, but I wanted to first comment to you because I've taken some computer classes with you. And when you first shared with us or told us that people left without actually closing out whatever program they had been in, I really almost fell out of my chair. That is just the minimum. I could not imagine that. But I just wanted to comment that, yeah, when you first said that in a course on site pre-pandemic, I almost fell out of my chair, but for Mrs. Arana,
Yes,
Arana?
Arana, yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask, could you give an example of maybe two or so of some of the most interesting or egregious types of scams that your office has been exposed to as it relates to seniors?
One,
I'm not obviously asking for names. I'm just asking for the nature of the
okay,
scam.
so one that I've heard, that when we do presentations is sometimes you'll get a phone call from someone, impersonating as if they're a family member needing money. And some people are
Mm.
just not sure, so they're giving free information out. For example, one of my coworkers, she said her aunt received a call from someone saying, my aunt, I need money. And they're like, who is this? And they're like, it's me, it's your niece. And then the person said, oh, Teresa. And she's like, yeah, I'm Teresa, I need money. And luckily her aunt didn't have
Ooh.
money. And she's like, well, I
Mm.
don't have it at the moment. Let me see if I can help you any other way. So she hung up with her, but then her aunt called her mom, and her mom's like, no, that wasn't Teresa. And she's like, oh, are
Okay.
you serious? And she's like, yeah. She goes, I was so worried because she sounded very desperate that she needed something. And well, then how did she know it was her name? Because in her being vulnerable, you know,
Mhm.
Give out
phony
information without meaning to.
yes.
Yeah, they catch them off guard, and they fish the information out of them. Well, it's very, very
Mm.
sneaky. And it's horrible how they do prey on the most vulnerable,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
which is our seniors who don't have that extra money to be losing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is there another type?
Another thing is, they'll call you for services or for products. They'll say, oh, we're offering a free knee brace. Just sign up with us and we'll work with your insurance company
Ooh.
and we'll help you get this product. First of all, you have to think, do you need a knee brace? And if you do need a knee brace, has your
Mhm.
doctor told you you needed this knee brace? Because that's who you should be going through in that avenue with that. Um, Hearing aids, sometimes they'll call you and they'll say, you know, we have this and this available. Do you really need hearing aids? If you do, once again,
Mhm.
talk to your doctor about that. And a lot of people feel, well, they say it's free. They said they're gonna help me, and it's not like that. They're just trying to get your information. At times, they will get the product out for you, but sometimes your insurance doesn't cover. So that's why it's always good to get in
Mhm.
contact with your insurance company to see what products are covered, what Medicare can actually give you, because sometimes there's programs or there's things where they're actually offering things
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
seniors. So that's something you should talk to them before agreeing with anybody that's soliciting you over the phone. And if
Does
they
your
do,
office? Go ahead, please.
I'm saying, and if they do, if they are insistent, what I would tell consumers is take their phone number down, ask if they can mail you something out about the
Mm.
information so that you can at least be sure and know that if it's a scam or not a scam. Because there are times sometimes when they do call and they do legitimately want to help. But
Mhm.
if they're trying to get you right off before you get off the phone, that information, then that's a red flag telling you, no, you shouldn't be pressured to get anything you don't want or need.
Okay. Okay. Does your office leave literature about scams related to seniors? Because they're so vulnerable at senior centers or senior apartment complex or anything like
On our
that?
website, we have different departments. There are a few things in regards to seniors and consumer fraud. We do have a specific senior hotline in case you don't feel comfortable talking to anyone in the other hotlines. We have one line specifically for seniors, and that person that's on that phone line will take their time with you. They've been trained to be able to ask and be patient with you, because they do know it's a little different when you're a senior versus when you're another consumer having an issue with like a car of some sort. Sometimes some people are a little bit more knowledgeable. Sometimes the people need someone to be a little bit more patient with them. So that's why we have a specific senior hotline number so that you don't feel like you're rushed, and they can cater to your situation and questions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And if you have any questions or concerns, you're more than welcome to call our office. As I mentioned, we have so many different departments, and we're more than happy to receive any call because we want to know what's going on in your state. Without you guys calling us, we don't know exactly where we should be putting our resources towards.
Okay. Okay.
So I will be putting up this recording on our Facebook page for others who weren't able to attend today. And so if you need to go back and double check some of those slides with the contact information, you can quickly find it there by scrolling through the
Great.
recording. Okay.
Great. Excellent.
Okay. And
Thank you, Alex.
you're welcome, Ms. Crawley. Mr. and Mrs. Buto, do you have any questions or comments? Anything that you'd like to share or inquire about? All right. Remember, if you do, you can ask Chris, and I'll make sure that she knows where the link to the recording is and all the information for you guys to look at later too. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Buto? All right. So anything else that we need to cover?
Since it was just online scams, that's pretty much all the information that I have for scams. We do have other information for other things. If you're having issues with your mortgage, if you're having issues with a product, we have that information available on our website, and then we can also do presentations catered to those things as well.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much. It was very informational. So
Well, thank you very much for having us. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's always good to know that our agencies are working for the way that we hope they're working, that they're meant to be, and so it's very refreshing, and so very it feels very good to know that we have a resource to go to.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if there's nothing else anyone wants to have another comment, I will close it if it's okay with you. So
Yeah,
you can
that's
stop the
fine.
recording. All right. Well, thank you very much.